Imagine a tightrope stretched high above a canyon. On one side, the rope leads to chaos. On the other, it leads to emptiness. And here you are, barefoot, wobbling, trying to stay in the middle. Too far to the left, you fall. Too far to the right, you fall. The strange part, most of us are sprinting to one side or the other without even noticing. We overshoot, overcorrect, and call it progress. But what if the secret to a good life, the kind Aristotle spoke of over 2,000 years ago, was simply this: stay on the rope, not frozen in the middle, but balanced in motion. A life lived without clinging to extremes. It sounds simple, but if it were, the world would look very different. The real danger is that extremes feel safe. They give us certainty, identity, a sense of control. We love picking sides because it makes the messy middle disappear. Think about politics, where moderation is mocked and shouting wins more attention than thoughtfulness, or health, where some starve themselves chasing thinness while others indulge endlessly, both calling it freedom. We have this habit of treating life like a switch, all on or all off. But Aristotle saw that truth and virtue are rarely found at the edges. They live in the tension between. The Greeks called this the golden mean, and it is not a bland average. It is the razor's edge where excellence lives. Miss it, and you do not just lose balance. You lose the very thing that makes life worth living. Here is the puzzle. We think the opposite of one extreme is the cure. Feeling shy? Force yourself into wild extroversion. Feeling lazy? Punish yourself with relentless overwork. But what if both ends of the spectrum rot the same way? Imagine a bow pulled too tightly. It snaps. Leave it slack. It cannot launch an arrow. Life is the bow, and we are constantly snapping it or letting it hang useless. The golden mean is the right tension, not too tight, not too loose. But who decides what right is? Aristotle believed it is not a fixed point, but a living relationship between you, your choices, and your circumstances. Courage, for example, lives between cowardice and recklessness. Honesty lives between rudeness and deceit. Even love can spoil into obsession on one side or neglect on the other. In every case, extremes destroy, but balance breathes life. The journey toward that balance starts with humility, the recognition that you are not the exception to this rule. We all think we can handle the extremes. The overconfident investor convinced the bubble will never burst, the health nut who swears they can sustain an insane diet forever. The activist who believes compromise is betrayal. At first, extremes feel like clarity. They give you the thrill of certainty, the comfort of identity. But here is what research shows. A 2018 Stanford study on decision-making found that people who embrace nuance, who can hold conflicting ideas without rushing to a side, consistently make better long-term choices. Why? Because they adapt. Extremes make you brittle. Balance makes you resilient. Picture a tree in a storm. If it is too rigid, it snaps in the wind. If it is too soft, it uproots. The strongest trees sway but hold firm. Aristotle's golden mean works the same way. It is not about standing frozen at the midpoint. It is about moving with life's storms without breaking or drifting. That is harder than picking a side and shouting from it. Balance asks you to be present, to think, to adjust. And our brains hate that. Certainty is addictive. Gray areas are exhausting. Here is where the danger multiplies. Extremes feed themselves. The further you go toward one side, the more the other side looks like the enemy. It becomes easier to double down than to step back. Psychologists call this the backfire effect, when evidence against your belief only makes you hold it tighter. This is why arguments online spiral into absurdity. No one is aiming for the truth. They are clinging to the edges. Aristotle would look at this and say, "You have left the rope entirely." Let us take courage as an example. Soldiers rushing headlong into certain death are not brave. They are reckless. The person who never risks anything is not careful. They are a coward. True courage is choosing action despite fear, but with wisdom. It is charging when you should and holding when you must. In the golden mean, courage breathes life into you and those around you. Step too far either way, and it becomes a weapon against yourself. The same is true for pleasure. The hedonist who chases every thrill quickly dulls their senses, needing more and more to feel alive. The ascetic who rejects all joy withers inside. Aristotle warned that both will fail because both are extremes. Joy, like courage, blooms in balance. It is the warm bread shared with friends, not the binge nor the starvation. It is the music you dance to, not the noise that deafens or the silence that suffocates. Here is what is fascinating. Modern science is beginning to prove Aristotle right in ways he could not have imagined. Studies on hormesis show that small amounts of stress, heat, cold, fasting, exercise, strengthen the body. Too much stress destroys it. Too little leaves it weak. Even in biology, life thrives in the middle ground between too little and too much. Nature itself obeys the golden mean. Rivers that flow too fast tear up their banks. Rivers that trickle too slowly stagnate. The healthiest ecosystems balance tension and release, predator and prey, growth and decay. But if balance is natural, why is it so hard for us? Because our survival wiring loves shortcuts. In ancient times, if you found food, you ate all of it. Scarcity was the extreme we lived in. If you found safety, you clung to it. Danger was everywhere. Those instincts remain, but our modern world tempts us with constant excess. The fight now is not against scarcity, but against abundance. We can drown in what we once needed to survive. This is why balance has become a skill we must consciously practice, not just stumble into. Here is the twist. Balance is not static. What is mean for one person is extreme for another. For a trained athlete, running 10 miles may be balance. For someone recovering from illness, it may be recklessness. The same act can live in the golden mean or outside it depending on context. Aristotle understood this. Virtue is personal, but it is not private. Your balance affects the world. Your extremes ripple outward, just as your balance can stabilize those around you. So how do you live it? You start by noticing your edges. Where do you overcorrect? Where do you cling? Ask yourself, if I take one step back from this position, would I lose truth or gain it? You might be surprised. Often the middle feels like surrender at first, but it is not. It is mastery. The samurai did not hold their swords too tightly or too loosely, they held them ready. The musician does not play at full volume or silence. They find the note that fits the moment. The best lives are played the same way. Living the golden mean is not about avoiding passion or ambition. It is about channeling them. A river behind a dam can generate electricity. The same river unleashed can destroy a city. Your energy works the same way. In balance, it powers you. In extremes, it burns you. And here is the transformation. When you begin to live this way, you stop fearing the other side. You stop seeing it as the enemy. The person on the opposite political spectrum, the one with different values, becomes not a threat, but a teacher. They show you the edges you might be leaning toward. Balance turns enemies into mirrors, and mirrors make you wiser. Aristotle's golden mean is not a comfortable place. It demands awareness, humility, and constant adjustment. But it is the place where courage is pure, joy is lasting, and wisdom can breathe. It is the rope above the canyon, where every step matters, and where the view is unmatched. So the next time you feel yourself racing toward an extreme, toward certainty, toward excess, toward the comfort of the edge, pause. Step back to the rope. Feel the sway. Adjust your weight. Keep moving. Because the truth is not found in the safety of one side. It is found in the balance you fight for every single day. And in that balance lies the kind of life Aristotle called eudaimonia, a life of human flourishing, not in spite of the middle, but because of it. If this made you stop and think, drop a comment with your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe to XQ so you do not miss more deep dives into the ideas that shape how we live.